Humans transported boulders to Stonehenge, new study reveals. The age-old debate surrounding the origin of Stonehenge's boulders has finally been put to rest, according to a new study. The ancient monument, located near Sainsbury in southwest England, is renowned for its mysterious construction using stones from various parts of Great Britain. Among these are the smaller bluestone megaliths, most of which hail from North Pembrokeshire, a staggering 140 miles, 225 kilometres away. While many archaeologists have long believed that these bluestones were transported to the site by human hands, others have posited that they were carried by glacial ice long before Stonehenge was even built. However, a research team from Aberystwyth University has now presented evidence that refutes the ice transport theory. Their work, published in the Journal for Archaeological Research, focuses on the Newall Boulder, a 22 by 15 by 10 centimetre rock excavated at Stonehenge in 1924, originally from CraigRhos-y-Felin in Pembrokeshire. The team's findings suggest that there is no evidence to support the idea that the boulder was transported by ice to the Salisbury Plain, where the monument is located. The researchers argue that the boulder's shape, which some have attributed to glacial transport, could simply be the result of surface weathering. They also point out that if the bluestones had been transported by ice, even partially, from their source in West Wales towards Stonehenge, there should be erratics, rocks that have been transported by glaciers from the Preseli Mountains in West and South Wales. However, no such erratics have been found, and the total absence of the distinctive spotted dolerite used at Stonehenge further east than the Narberth area in Pembrokeshire supports the theory of human transport. But here's where it gets controversial. While the team's findings challenge the ice transport theory, they also raise questions about the methods and motivations of the Neolithic people who built Stonehenge. How did they manage to transport such massive stones over such a great distance? And why did they go to such great lengths to do so? These are questions that continue to puzzle archaeologists and historians and invite further research and discussion. Stonehenge's bluestones, humans versus ice. New clues from the Newall Boulder. The origins of Stonehenge's iconic bluestones have long fascinated archaeologists and history enthusiasts alike. But here's where it gets controversial. Were these massive stones transported by human hands or carried naturally by ancient glaciers? A small, unassuming rock fragment known as the Newall Boulder is now at the centre of this heated debate. Discovered nearly a century ago in 1924, this bullet-shaped stone might just hold the key to resolving one of archaeology's most enduring mysteries: how Stonehenge was built. Let's start with the basics. Stonehenge, located on the Salisbury Plain in southern England, wasn't constructed using materials sourced locally. Instead, its builders relied on stones from far-flung regions across Great Britain. For instance, the famous bluestones came all the way from the Preseli Hills in Wales, a staggering distance of approximately 240 kilometres, 150 miles. Meanwhile, the altar stone travelled an even more impressive 700 kilometres, 430 miles from northeast Scotland. How these colossal rocks made their journey remains a topic of intense speculation. One theory that gained traction in the early 1990s suggested that the Newall Boulder might be a glacial erratic, a rock carried over vast distances by moving ice sheets during prehistoric times. If true, this would mean the Stonehenge's builders didn't need to transport the stones themselves. Instead, they simply found them already deposited near the sites by natural forces. However, not everyone agrees with this interpretation, and the debate has only intensified over the years. In a recent study, researchers are pushing back hard against the glacial transport hypothesis. Their argument: after re-examining the surface wear patterns of the Newall Boulder, they claim that none of these features definitively prove glacial movement. In fact, many could easily result from ordinary weathering processes that exploit internal cracks within the rock. Furthermore, there's no geological evidence of glaciation on the Salisbury Plain, nor have scientists found any other glacial erratics or deposits in the area. These absences strongly suggest that the idea of ice carrying Stonehenge's stones is unlikely. But what about the Newall Boulder itself? Upon closer inspection, the researchers proposed that it likely broke off from one of Stonehenge's bluestones.
More intriguingly, its mineral composition matches rhyolite found at CraigRhos-y-Felin, a rocky outcrop in the Preseli Hills. And here's the kicker. While there's no trace of glaciers extending from this Welsh site towards Stonehenge, there's compelling evidence of prehistoric quarrying activity at CraigRhos-y-Felin. This supports the notion that humans actively extracted and transported the Bluestones beginning around 3000 BCE. In their conclusion, the authors reaffirm their stance. The Newall Boulder is not a glacial erratic, and there's no credible evidence of glaciation in the region. Instead, they argue that Stonehenge's bluestone were moved deliberately by human effort rather than passive natural forces. Their findings were published in the Journal of Archaeological Science Reports, adding another chapter to this long-standing scholarly dispute. So, which side do you fall on? Is the glacial erratic theory still worth considering? Or does the evidence overwhelmingly support human ingenuity in transporting these monumental stones? Share your thoughts in the comments below. This is one debate that's far from settled.
Unlocking the mystery of Stonehenge. Neolithic engineering revealed. The age-old enigma of Stonehenge may finally be unraveled, as a new study sheds light on the 5,000-year-old questions surrounding this prehistoric monument. Researchers from Aberystwyth University have discovered evidence that Neolithic communities were responsible for moving the Newall Boulder on Wiltshire's Salisbury Plain, as per their study published in the Journal of Archaeological Science. This discovery puts an end to a long-standing scientific debate about whether glacial movement or human transportation contributed to the presence of the stones at Stonehenge. The Newall Boulder, a football-sized rock, was first discovered during an early excavation at Stonehenge in 1924 by Colonel William Hawley. The study found that there is no evidence to support an interpretation that it is a glacial erratic. Professor Richard Bevins and his team compared the Newall Boulder with stones at CraigRhos-y-Felin, a rocky outcrop in Wales, over 125 miles away. Their research revealed that chemical analysis showed identical amounts of thorium and zirconium in the geology at CraigRhos-y-Felin, the Newall Boulder, and other fragments found at Stonehenge. The Newall Boulder is a foliated rhyolite, and its surface layer is rich in calcium carbonate. This further supports the idea that humans moved it to its final resting place, since glaciers would have scattered similar pieces across the Stonehenge region. The study also uncovered a fascinating secret hidden within another of Stonehenge's buried stones, Stone 32D. Previously believed to be a rock called spotted dolerite, it's actually a foliated rhyolite, just like the Newall Boulder. Part of the fascination of Stonehenge is that many of its megaliths, in contrast to the large, relatively local sartans, can be proven to have been sourced from Wales, over 200 kilometers to the west, the study revealed. While most archaeologists accept that Neolithic people achieved this remarkable feat, a contrary view remains that no human effort was involved. This view proposes that the Welsh stones were transported by glacial ice long before Stonehenge was built. One of the more prominent advocates for the glacier theory is Dr. Brian John, a geologist whose previous study found that the Newall Boulder exhibits glacial abrasion marks. However, Bevins and his team said his finding has no basis in evidence. They argued that similar fragments would be found elsewhere on Salisbury Plain if glaciers transported the stones, but they are concentrated only at Stonehenge, strengthening the case for human movement. The researchers firmly stated that if Neolithic people could move a stone a few tens of meters, they could move it tens or hundreds of kilometers. Although the study confirmed Neolithic communities moved the stones, the precise techniques they used remain unknown. They did note that recent indigenous peoples have been transporting stones weighing many tons great distances with ropes, wooden sledges and trackways, technologies which would have been available in the Neolithic. But here's where it gets controversial. The study challenges the glacier theory, which has been a subject of debate among scientists for years. The researchers argued that the evidence points towards human transportation of the stones, not glacial movement. This raises questions about the capabilities of Neolithic communities and their ability to move such large stones over long distances. What do you think? Did Neolithic communities have the technology and resources to transport these stones? Or was it the work of glaciers?